Welcome to today's webinar on identifying your value, a mindful reflection of your skills. My name is Kyle Weraky, and I'm the Senior Recruiter at the Oregon Department of Education. I'm excited to be with you today to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart. When you take the time to mindfully reflect on your skills and abilities, then you can build a plan to your desired career path. The agenda today will be addressing 4 specific content areas, which are understanding your skills, creating actionable steps based off of your skill set, performing research on your desired career objectives, and being fair to yourself during negotiations. Before you can jump out and begin to build a new career path or begin searching for growth opportunities in your current career path, it's important to perform a self-assessment. So when I say self-assessment, I'm saying to understand that what makes you happy and how to translate that into a career. Identifying areas of interest can be a difficult assessment to perform because it's sometimes hard to translate what makes you happy and have the foresight to see how this may translate. However, identifying what makes you happy is only the first step in the process. The key to performing any kind of self-assessment, whether it's externally facing or internally facing, is honesty. It will be difficult to identify roads for change if you are building a false sense of direction for yourself. So you need to know what are you good at and where the areas are for improvement. The last step is to identify any areas of improvement and use this to help build a plan moving forward. Looking for feedback is the best way to make improvements in areas that may be deficient. However, we may also be ready and willing to seek feedback. As an example, I have a friend who is very into outdoors, loves camping, hiking, all of these different things. And over time, he's built up a portfolio of pictures and started a social media platform that he's really grown into a following. Well, a couple of years ago, he decided that he was going to hike the Pacific Crest Trail. It stretches all the way from Canada to Mexico. And he, through his social media presence and because he'd already built up a following and engaging with people, sponsors started to take notice. And through these sponsorships, he actually ended up getting almost half, if not more, of the trip funded just through sponsorships, which ranged from shoes, clothing, outdoor apparel, and all sorts of stuff, simply because he understood what the end goal was. He built actionable steps to getting there and sort of did a self-assessment on what his skills and abilities were and then built a plan around that. And it was incredibly successful throughout the process. So a common framework to building actionable steps is to start at the end and work back. When you know what the goal is, then you can set a plan in place to work towards your end goal. If the goal is to become a CEO, then the next actionable step to look for is management certifications, pursuing management level degrees such as an MBA, or proactive steps to add to your toolkit. Setting incremental milestones will help you build your experience in the right direction. So in the previous example, if you were a recent college graduate looking for your first job and the goal is to become CEO someday, then the first step is to find a job and then build from there. Work towards leadership experience, then continue to make moves that build toward your end goal of senior management. It doesn't make sense to go immediately from your first step out of college to CEO. So having those actionable steps will help you build your career in the right direction. So now that you have your plan in place, the next logical step would be to put the plan into action. So when you begin to apply for a job and you make it to the final job offer stage, you'll undoubtedly need to negotiate the terms of your newly found employment. There may be many things you will need to consider and a few things you will want to make sure you achieve. So it's important to be fair to yourself throughout the entire process. In any negotiations, before you even enter, you need to determine what your walkaway items are. A walkaway item means that these are the items that if an employer cannot satisfy, then you won't be able to accept the job offer. The most common item people want to negotiate is salary. However, when you work in particular sectors like governments or not-for-profit, salary is not always as negotiable, or salary considerations might be collectively bargained. This is the best opportunity that you have to think outside the box. So you might want to be flexible schedule every week or the ability to work from home 1 or 2 days a week. You might be in the middle of a degree program and you want to seek financial reimbursement, like tuition reimbursement or subsidy. It's important that you get creative in asking outside of what salary considerations are. And at the end of the day, money's not everything, but it is something to consider. The industry standard is to negotiate on really 2 items. So you might have a lot of walkaway items that you're considering, but really you want to zero that down to probably 1 or 2 items max. Important is that when you decide your walkaway items, you shouldn't back down. If you decided that you won't be happy unless these items are accepted, then you shouldn't compromise because it won't be too long before you won't be satisfied in your new role. Ultimately, you're trying to identify what makes you happy and how to pursue that. If you're really wanting 2 days of telecommute and an organization says that in lieu of time they're willing to give you more money, the root issue is still not fixed from the perspective that you still have to report 5 days a week to the office, and at some point more money won't actually continue to solve the issue. Before the interview process, it's important to understand that the average salary and benefits a person in a particular industry would likely be accepting. There are plenty of resources on the internet, such as salary.com, Glassdoor, that you can get an idea of what is generally accepted salary conditions may be. The biggest component to any negotiation is trust. For a successful negotiation to take place, there must be some element of trust in the process. If trust doesn't exist, and the idea that both parties are not coming from an honest standpoint, then a negotiation will fall apart almost every time. So when you apply for a position and the organization says, due to budgeting concerns, we can't reach a particular dollar amount, then it's important on some level to take that at face value. You don't want to diminish the value of the negotiation position. So at this point, what you should be doing is bring to the table some walkaway items, so such as flexible time off, or now that you've made the conditional or you have compromised on salary, it gives you an opportunity to negotiate on other items. So your argument's actually in bargaining position is actually stronger because you're considering conceding on the particular item, which could be salary. The takeaway here is to be honest with yourself and what your knowledge, skills, and abilities are, and then build an actionable plan to your next career move. Be ready and do your homework for any negotiation in which you may be entering. When the opportunity presents itself, be ready and have a solid plan. Check back next month for our new article and webinar being published by one of our talented staff, Molly Anderson, on leading from where you are. Catch you next time.